Hey guys, Omni here. Thanks to Disney Plus, I've finally been able to see the hit Broadway show Hamilton. And honestly, I gotta say that I might even prefer this format. I think that as magical and as amazing as it is to see something live and in a theater, that I don't think even in the best theater seats, no matter if you got the best seats in the house, that you could get as intimate and up close and personal with the performances happening on the stage. The way this is directed, the cinematography, and the way that the camera positioning and uh, it allows you to get in to these intimate moments, get in, see every minor expression on every performer's face, and really feel a lot of the emotion and connection and the physical performances being put on display in a much more up close and intimate fashion. And that's what really blew me away about this because I've seen stage performances. I grew up in show choir circles, so I performed on stage before. I've sung, danced, all that stuff. Even watching people compete, it's always at a distance, and there's always some level of obscurity that comes from being that far away. Like I said, the closest you can be is the best you can get at it, and it still doesn't allow you to weave in and out of a lot of the stuff, especially on something that has like such an elaborate stage setup like this show does, and this wide range of performances and little tiny nuances that are added just by each individual performer's nuances that they bring to each role. And I think a lot of what makes it successful in doing this is because it's directed by the same person who directed the stage play, Thomas Kail, and starring a lot of the original cast, if not all of them, if I'm mistaken. I think everybody that originally was signed on to the Broadway came back to perform it in this format for Disney Plus, and it's beautiful. Of course, we got our lead and the writer of the show, Lin-Manuel Miranda, who is puts on like a stunning performance. I gotta say that as much as he is the star of the show and he stands out, there are a lot of people in this show, and I can't get through all the names themselves, but they are everybody behind this. Everybody putting on the work on the stage and behind the stage is bringing to life something beautiful and amazing. And I think it lives up to all of the hype, honestly. And this might not be for everybody because I know there's a lot of people out there that just they're not into musicals, they're not into stage performances and stuff like that. I get it, um, but I would definitely check it out. I'm going to recommend this no matter what. I absolutely adore this. Going into it, I've heard a couple of the songs, I've heard the praise and the talk surrounding this production ever since it really went live on Broadway. In my circles, it's been something that I've heard a lot of my friends talk about because some of them have actually been able to go see it. But it was never something that was really in the cards for me. And the way that Disney Plus allowed this access to the general audiences for something like this, especially since it's accommodating even more so because of the pandemic, I really appreciated that. I loved it because there was probably no chance I was ever going to actually get to see something like this live. And honestly, like I said, I think this format get allows you to get more intimate with the production. The music, the compositions in this are beautiful, well done. It takes a lot of inspiration from R&B, hip hop, and stuff like that, and brings it in with all the same kind of classical elements that we know from other musicals. The Broadway flair comes in there, and it's all just bred together expertly well. Of course, Lin-Manuel Miranda is just a genius when it comes to this stuff. And it shows here. There's not a weak element in this production whatsoever to me. I was laughing, I was invested. It's 2 hours and 40 minutes long, and I had my attention on it the entire time. It sucks you in. It's so good, and I love that this. Now, it's not historically accurate. There's a lot of liberties that they take with the production to tell a story. There is definitely a story that is being told with this about immigration, about what your legacy is going to be, because once you pass, how your story is told is not in your control anymore. And there's this theme of history has its eyes on you, and how what you do in these moments, how you act and how you perform, and how your story becomes taken out of your hands because of the lenses, the perspectives that are taken by other people and who carry on and tell your story after you've passed. Um, and there's a lot of things about the birth of America that is brought up in this that I think really kind of resonate and is not all that different from what is happening right now. Of course, this was written 4 years before all of the protests and stuff like that, but this is something that has still been going on for a long time. I think there's a lot of commentary that can come from this production as well that really kind of shed some lovely light on a lot of things happening right now. And it's really beautiful and really emotional to go through and go along this journey. It's funny, it's heartbreaking. There's a lot of great touching moments in this, and it just shows that everybody's flawed. I think it's a really beautiful production. I think it's something that I would recommend anybody check out. A lot of these songs are amazing. I still have some of them stuck in my head. It was a beautiful, beautiful production, and if you have the time, you have Disney Plus, check it out. I don't think you'll regret it. It's a lot of fun. And it opened the doors to, like I said, it's not historically accurate by all means. There's a lot of things that are very close, but of course, I watched some interviews after this just before I wanted to talk about this too with Lin-Manuel Miranda and about how they came up with the story. There's some things they rearranged, of course, to benefit the storytelling. That does kind of make some of things a little inaccurate here and there. There's some embellishments, of course, but of course, it is for a purpose, for the story they're trying to tell with this. It's not meant to be a one-for-one historical documentary on stage or anything like that. There's a clear goal and story and a message that this is trying to tell and convey, and I think it does it really well, but it also opens the doors to myself as a viewer and others to go and ask some of those questions. Was like, well, what happened here? Wasn't that different? That's kind of not how I remembered it in history class. And then going out and doing some research and educating yourself more. And I think it's a fun conversation that the piece, the work, the performance has with the viewer. And that's something that I really like about live performances. And I think that the visual medium in general, its goal is always to do that. Art is always meant to provoke questions, provoke inquiry, to provoke your own self-reflection, not even on just yourself sometimes, but on society, on your country, on your people. And I think this show does that. And it did have me after the fact looking things up, looking into some of these figures a little bit more and seeing how they're being presented, how they have been presented, and how that conflicts with what we think of them, and how certain things are going on today that are I'm really curious how it's going to be looked upon in the years after, how a lot of things that are happening right now, how history is going to reflect on these moments. It's very timely, it's very beautiful, and it's an amazing production. I recommend checking it out. If you don't like musicals, you might be able to get yourself into this one. Give it a shot, check it out, let me know your thoughts, and we can carry on the conversation after the video. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'll catch you guys next time. Take care, everybody.